I'm gonna dance by myself like nobody.
The Crochet Crowd, Michael speaking.
Back away, Sage!
Dance like nobody's watching me.
So what we have to do is we have to orientate this bottom half to match the top half.
Don't really care if my rhythm's off, 'cause I'm gonna.
And welcome everybody to the Crochet Crowd here live on a Monday morning. I am currently working on a pair of shorts, self-designed, freeform. I'm not a clothing designer. It's pretty wicked cold outside. Today is pretty ugly out there. Probably, it's not a storm chip day, but it's pretty close to it. And that here in the Maritimes means that it's kind of like not a day you want to go outside. So I'm currently working on a pair of shorts. I designed a square. I know it's not square yet, but I designed a square that has a flower. That's part of it for my shorts. If you've been following me along on Facebook, you're going to be seeing those ideas. So I got I got the front panel of my shorts done, and then I hated it so much that I ripped it out. I lined each one of the squares with a white border, and it looked like. So anyway, so I ripped all the white borders off. I ripped it all apart and just kept the center circles and restarted again. So, so I got the front panel plus the crotch area pretty much done. I'm not going to worry about sewing the crotch stuff together until I try them on, just see how much space I'm going to need for obvious reasons. And so anyway, so I have a system that people like on YouTube are like, this makes absolutely no sense. So let me show you my system for being absolutely random. And so I want each one of the squares to be its own. So you can share with me comments here if you're kicking around here on this early Monday morning. So I like to create a system where I have a basket, and this is my workshop. Okay. And so what I do is that each one of the strands of the balls come up to the top. So I work on all 12 colors that I'm doing. So I'm using for the whole thing Red Heart with Love Better Half, because it's shorts, it's got a cotton to it. So I really want that. It's got a bit of weight to it as well. The shorts are actually heavier than I thought, but I don't mind that. And so I have all of the colors. So I'm not using white, even though it's here in the bin. So what I do is that I look at it and say, okay, what color is not already on this side? So because it's already on this side, I've already used it in the last round. So I just grab a new one here, and then I look at what's left. And then I can just grab a random one here. Doesn't matter, it's all random. And so then I crochet with this one. And then as soon as I'm done crocheting this portion of it, what I do is I move it back over to here. And so then when I get my next one, I look at it and say what other colors are left. And then I'll pick something else random. So it makes every square random. And because there's 12 colors and there's only there's 12 colors altogether, and there's only 4 colors used per granny square. It actually makes, you can actually do, honestly, I think you could do hundreds of these things completely random. So somebody says they can't see the cart. Oh, I think it's because you're looking at me in vertical mode on YouTube. So I'm not sure how to change that. So yeah. So anyway, so this is how I do it. So anyway, so I'm going to be just stitching it with you today. And yeah, so we'll see what's going on in your minds. And yeah, so my hat is actually from, it's knitted, which is fine. Don't go there. But I bought it in Scotland, and it's an ugly cold outside. And because it looks cold outside, I feel cold on the inside, even though it's not. So I'm going to commit to the color I just popped into my hands. And basically, I'm going to crochet. So I need to do total, I think I need about 27 squares altogether. So I got the first 12 already in process for the back half of my outfit. And anyway, this is how I do it. And people are like, this makes no sense. I need to see it written out and I need instructions. No, you don't. This is how I do it. So anyway, because I remember that actually the granny square coat is behind me, or behind the right there. That was completely random way. And I like it kind of like that. I live in Technicolor. I live in color. The world is diverse, so not everything has to be the same. And that's my mantra, and I'm going to stick with it today. So yeah, so it took me a bit to design this square, but once I got it done, I was off to the races. So I use, it's almost like interlocking. And so I actually did film this, but we've had construction here in the house. And I think during the filming, I think you can hear the guys banging the hammers in the background. I have not listened to the playback, but I'm assuming that they did. So I'm not sure I'm going to use it and have to redo my work, but yeah. 2, 3. So anyway, I don't use my rolling cart very often. It's just my desk is full of projects. I literally have 5 projects that need to have their patterns written. So I've been having trouble sitting at my desk, as most of you know. I'm not feeling great, so I have to sit up straight, or I'm in pain. So because of that, my desk is a little tough workstation at this time. But my surgery is scheduled. Well, not scheduled, but it's a timeline is probably 4 to 5 weeks from now. So I'm waiting for the final date. But I seen the surgeon. I got to walk through what to expect, the whole 9 yards. So everything is moving along pretty good. Had my MRI last week for my other issue that is related to my hands. So that was good. So a lot of stuff is happening here at home. So I can usually crochet a lot and see what you're talking to me. So what's on your hooks? Tell me something about you that is fun gossip. Maybe where do you live? So most of you know I live in Nova Scotia, Canada. I was messaged by somebody this morning that there's apparently a festival going on here, and suggesting that maybe I'd be a host teacher, but I'm better off when it's my own event because I'm a little unpredictable. So I tend to be too much of myself when I'm out in public. So it's better that it's my own event so I can be myself and not apologize. So what I'm doing is that I'm crocheting around the petals. See? So it's interlocking for this. So I don't plan on writing a pattern for my shorts because I'm not a clothing designer, because that is one of the things that I really got turned off of YouTube in the very beginning stages back in 2008 when I started, is that you design something and then everybody wants every stitch sampler under the sun. So women's clothing can be up to 7 sizes. So that's 7 different videos. And because of that, I find that really frustrating. It's just time-wise, you can never move forward. And then because I'm not a clothing designer, I don't understand body shape as well, because some women are well endowed and others are not. And some people like me are shaped like pears. And so I don't know how the designers do it, honestly. But yeah. So, okay, so let's talk projects. So we got Carrie's in the house. She is doing, she has some mushroom hats that she's works. She's doing an amigurumi bear. We're doing that. We got crocheting big blankets in a hot climate, says Megan. I'm actually crocheting the next, I know it looks like I'm choking so it's a moose that I'm doing for the crochet cruises. And so it's going to be, and I'm designing this, so I've actually had it brought quite a bit. So anyway, it's going to be a moose lovey. So the body is going to be empty. And so it's going to have, so I made its armholes like a baby sweater. So I'm designing in real time. So I'm just putting that aside because I frogged a lot yesterday. Yeah. So you got the new Granny Squared Sweetheart yarn is not available in Canada yet. So I'm looking forward to getting that. My order apparently for Yarn Inspirations has shipped. I ordered a ton of yarn on the really big sale during Boxing Week. And have your drunken scarf on the hook. What do you think of that pattern, Jilly? Baby shower blankets, wonderful quick project. The mosaic elephant blanket is so sweet. Mosaic elephant blanket. What else we got? We got Rosalie all the way from New York in the house this morning. Working on the wheat stitch. So anyway, I did actually, don't tell anybody, but I actually followed Brianna Kay, and then I actually charted out the wheat stitch on diagram format so I could actually see what was happening in the stitch, and I actually tried it. Fascinating stitch. But as I alluded to on my last blog last week, is that, you know, that she's having such success with that wheat stitch. And I was talking to Marley Bird and Sarah from Repeat Craft for Me. about the wheat stitch, and we were all like so super excited for her that she has developed something that has gone viral. And so all of us respect that. So we're staying away from, kind of copying that idea, because you know what happens when you copy people. You take away their thunder. And so anyway, that's been amazing. So I don't know who Brianna K is. I just know she's as a person. I just know she's a well-known crocheter in our sphere. That's good. Yeah. So anyway, that's kind of fun going on. So Megan is my neighbor. Megan McHugh is here, and she's in the house this morning. What else we got? She's trying to make, Danny's trying to make sleeves and ponchos. Who else am I missing? Making amigurumi Pokemons. Yeah. I love your hat. What is the pattern for it? It's called the Gift Shop in Scotland. That's the name of the pattern. I actually have 3 of them. I have a puffin. Daniel's been wearing the Highland Coo hat that actually has hair coming out of it. Not Highland cow hair, but mock hair. And I bought it when I was in Scotland. They're lined as well. So there's a fleece lining inside these hats. So they're very toasty. So Ola Andrea, she is saying that she remembers when Brianna K put out a sweater with that. The stitch is fantastic, and the amount of opportunities that, is pretty good. So anyway, so I'm making a mousse for the Alaskan Crochet Cruise, and a mousse stuffy, and so anyway, my friend Nolan, Kathy is her first name. I refer to most of my friends by their last name. But so Nolan says, are you going to do another stuffy like you did before? And I'm like, I hadn't thought of it. So then I thought of it now. So anyway, so Daniel's daring me. Okay, if you're sensitive, don't be watching me today. But he's daring me to call the mousse Knuckles. Knuckles the mousse. It makes me giggle. Just so 12-year-old humor. I love it. And I said, don't make me do it, because you know I will. So he said, just call it Mr. Knuckles and be safe. I'm like, I don't know if you really can be safe calling him Moose Knuckles. It's ridiculous. You wouldn't want to live in my house, honestly. Our humor here is so 12-year-old humor. Yeah. So I don't know. So I might just call it Mr. K. And then if anybody asks me, then I'll have to explain. So yeah, so I don't know. Would you do it? I don't know. I actually did want to ask, I was going to ask the Journey members on YouTube, as far as like streaming and doom scrolling, what service do you doom scroll? Most of you probably doom scroll. It means that you're just on the social media, just scrolling endlessly at night or in the day or all day long or pretty much all day, all night. So which platform do you doom scroll? I don't doom scroll YouTube. So I just find it's too safe. It's just the humor is not cutting edge. I like shock humor, and anybody that's really close to me knows that. And don't ask Megan, because she knows that my feed on my Instagram is so rude, which I love. So I doom scroll Instagram like a mother. I tell you, I cannot get enough of that. And I accidentally discovered the Instagram feeds, I don't know, about 2 years ago, and I have not been able to get off of it. So there's another one done. So now this color, I'm going to switch with my automatic sort machine. It's going to move that over. So I'm going to move that over and then grab a new one. What color is not on this one already? And that's over in this section. It's random, so you can't make a bad choice. Use this blue. So I got rid of TikTok a while back. I heard somebody talk about Instagram, or sorry, TikTok, saying that don't waste your time on it, because if the US does actually block it, then you wasted all your time making content for it. So anyway, I end up deleting the app and just moved on. And I actually find on TikTok, once you get those people that are doing the filters, my whole feed is just, and once I stare at one filter too long, then it's just basically the same filter, just different people, where I find Instagram Reels are all over the place as far as what it is. So my friend Michelle here locally, she says, your Instagram is just wild. She goes, the videos when you go from one to another are completely unrelated to each other. And I'm like, yeah, that's why I'm addicted to it. Because it's just, you never know what's the next video. And so you want to scroll to see what the next video is. So anyway, so what I did is that I'm watching your comments too. Which ones you are surfing. I'll tell you another story about my Instagram feeds. So I had a point. I did have a point. Yeah, I had a point. I just don't remember what it was. Okay, so anyway, I was talking to my massage therapist, and I said, do you go on the Instagram Reels? She goes, yeah. She goes, it's nice and sweet, puppies and babies and the whole 9 yards. And I say, well, mine is not that way at all. And Megan can attest to that as well. So mine is just rude. It's just raunchy. It's just everything that's so wrong about everything. So anyway, I had an appointment with her last week, and she goes, you will never believe this. She goes, the minute you left, when we were talking about your Instagram feed last week, she goes, I checked the Instagram Reels on our lunch break, and she says, suddenly I was seeing stuff that I didn't know Instagram even had. And she said, it's like it just sensed that you were in the space. And then I wondered if the phones communicate on who your friends are. Yeah. To see if it actually will change people that are in your sphere without them actually going to look. And anyway, so she says she was doom scrolling at home, and her husband was right beside her, and he goes, what the hell is on your Instagram? She goes, I had this client that was talking about his Instagram Reels, and then all of a sudden my Reels flipped. And what is more interesting for me is when I'm hanging out with the girls in Stitch Night, my Instagram turns into this really over feminized feminized stuff. So I end up getting a lot of stuff that is, and it's like my Instagram doesn't recognize that I'm even a gay man. Yeah. So I don't know. Do you believe that would be true? Like just being in the same sphere would change somebody else's feed? Yeah. I don't know. It just seems kind of odd, right? So yeah. So that's, I don't know. I did have a point about something. I did actually have so because I don't doom scroll YouTube, even though I create the short reels for YouTube, because it's the humor just doesn't land with me on YouTube. But I wondered about adding my long form videos to Instagram. I don't know. I just don't want to create any more work for myself. Right. So I did hear a source that they say Google's not listening, but that doesn't mean that your phone's not programmed by something else to be listening. So I don't know. So it's creepy that it flips. Well, Rosalie, you don't want to see what's on my feed. Actually, I sometimes give you glimpses what's on my feed, because if I think it's funny enough, then I will post it to my personal profile on Facebook. And then people are like, what the hell are you watching? I'm like, this one made me laugh. So anyway, I was showing Daniel one this morning that I posted to my Facebook feed yesterday. So basically, a guy compliments a woman and she immediately retorts back that she's got a boyfriend. And so he changed his lingo to gay. And all of a sudden, she's loving the comment. And I said, you know, that's true in the gay world, is that a gay man can actually get away with complimenting a woman without being a threat. And so they tell me that at the spa that I go to. And they said, you were the least threatening man that comes in there. Not that other men threatened that, but they said, you know, you're just one of the girls when you come in and talk smack. I'm like, that's me. Yeah. Yeah. You need to check your settings after the updates. Yeah, that's probably true, Jilly. Jilly, you are making total sense today. Yeah. So, Ola, I've been seeing a lot of your little feeds on, I think it's YouTube. Been seeing a lot of little shorts that you're doing on there. So good on you for that. So Ola Joe, the crocheter, is also a YouTube host for crochet. She's out of the United States. She's a retired veteran. She's got a story and a half. And she's a great woman. So Outhouse Yarn Co., I think you're from Briar Island. Outhouse Yarn Co. is from Briar Island. She invited all of our crew to, over the summer, on the second group, to get her specialized yarn. And the second group placed orders with her to get Outhouse Yarn. And so anyway, I follow her on Facebook if you're interested. One thing I like about Outhouse Yarn, I forgot her first name, but one thing I like about her, her yarn has a point of view. So her mud or her sandy beaches or her water is all relative to her environment and to a point of view. And I like yarn with a point of view like that. So she nails it when it comes to stuff like that. So you can order online with her as well. Yeah, Rachel Outhouse. So her last name is Outhouse. That's Outhouse Yarn. Yeah. So anyway, so if you are looking for something, Outhouse Yarn Co., it would be a good independent source for dyeing yarn. I was talking to Jonathan from Yarn Dragon because he loves dyeing yarn. So we got another one done. So, oh, I like this combination a lot. I love this combination. So anyway, so do you find like when you buy yarn, and this is an open question for everybody, is that do you buy yarn based on a point of view, or do you just buy it based on color, or what is the trigger point to buy yarn? So I have not bought Outhouse Yarn though, because I didn't, but yes, I did. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I bought it in the store. So anyway, there's a little gift shop in Briar Island. That's here in Nova Scotia. Okay, so we're going to now transfer this color over to my specialized organization system to over here. And we're grabbing another square. And what color have I not used yet? I will pop this one with yellow. So I'm not worrying about looking at what the other squares are in the sample, because chances of me duplicating another square is highly unlikely. So color and texture, says Joyce. What is the trigger point? Color, texture, price. Has to be sale first, and then it has to be cotton or acrylic and feels good. So I'm really liking this Red Heart Better Together, or Better Half cotton-based. So it's 50% cotton. I would not be doing these shorts if there was acrylic, because I'd over sweat for the temperatures. But because it's 50% cotton, it's got the feel of cotton. And so somebody online says, well, is it like Caron cotton cakes? And it's completely not like Caron cotton cakes at all. It's actually got more concentration of cotton than Caron Cotton Cakes does. I think Caron Cotton Cakes is 20% cotton, 80% acrylic. This is 50-50. This has got a heavy feel to it because cotton is naturally a heavy product, but it feels really luxurious in the hands. So I'm a price shopper too, so there's no harm in getting a deal. If they're willing to sell it cheap, I'm willing to buy it. So unique yarns that I never worked with before. So are you working on squares for your shorts? I totally am. So I had this woman yesterday. She goes, I cannot see how your shorts are actually going to work out. I'm like, okay, way to encourage me. Thanks so much. Bye-bye. Linens gives me the creeps. And why is that, Julie? So Anne is enjoying the content that we're producing lately. So I have a ton of patterns that I have to do. Sorry, I have a ton of patterns I need to write. I have the samples done. My ADHD is going off so hard that I can't stand it. So I have not tried the quilt motif one yet. And the Granny Sweethearts, I think, is coming to Canada soon, but it's not here yet. I got a question over the weekend that I can't answer. They wanted to know if I have a list of what yarns are available at what stores in North America, and I honestly don't know that answer. I'm not ever told stuff like that. And just because one store is carrying it doesn't mean the same brand of store carries it in the next store. Each store is handled on its own. So it's better for them just to go on their online website for these stores and actually look it up themselves if they're looking for anything specific versus an open-ended question like that. So I don't know. So we got a Tickle Your Fancy. That should be a name of a new brand, Tina. Tickle Your Fancy Yarn. Tickle My Fancy Yarn. That'd be kind of fun. Jilly, you're trying to make sense over there in the Midwest. Just Google it. So we have late in Australia this morning. It would be totally late. My dream vacation would be just to jump in an RV and travel across New Zealand. I think that's my dream. That's my next dream bucket list. My ultimate dream is to see the Egyptian pyramids, but with the chaos in the world, I'm reluctant to book anything like that. I had some friends go out there, and they had a guy on board their bus with a machine gun or with a gun, and that just makes me uncomfortable. So maybe in time, maybe it'll get more civil, but I do want to see the pyramids before I'm dead. It's my ultimate bucket list. Yeah. Do you know anything about the hairpin lace? Yes, we have videos on that if you are interested in it. Do I love it? No, but it has a purpose. And some of the projects with hairpin lace are really spectacular. So don't let my opinion sway you from your interest. Just, that's the thing about the YouTube hosts and the Facebook creators, is that sometimes our opinion will have somebody stop them from investigating something, where I think sometimes you just got to look into it more, look at some videos and determine if you're interested or not. I can do Tunisian, but I don't love Tunisian. I don't hate Tunisian, but I don't love it. So, but it's not up to me to discourage people from wanting to learn Tunisian, because we have Tunisian videos, right? So Wendy is the voice of the Crochet Crowd this morning. So she's up and about over there in California. So you saw the pyramids in Mexico. I've seen those, but I really want to see the Egyptian ones. The Egyptian ones that just blow my mind how big they are. The Mayan pyramids in Mexico is incredible as well. Will you do more knitting soon? I love your knits. I haven't investigated that. I actually had to buy knitting needles from Ontario to have it shipped over. So my local independent retailer got out of the brand that I really like for whatever reason. I didn't ask why. They just don't carry it anymore. So anyway, I have the interchangeable knitting needles, and so I wanted to have the other sizes, and so I had to search high and low, and I found a place in Ontario, and had it shipped to me. Online shopping. That's the biggest difference from my age now from when I was a kid. The online shopping is just makes the whole world your shopping basket. But it also makes people feel like a self-victim when something is not available. There's a lot of stuff in the United States that's just not available here in Canada when it comes to technology. And so so some things I'm like, I wish I could have that. And you realize they don't ship. I think I have to have Daniel sharpen my scissors. So because I have a hand issue, my scissors, or I can do this, but I have a hard time sticking my hands in a hole of the scissors. I have a hard time navigating my hands when it comes to that. Does anybody use Sasha yarn anymore? I love to see new colors and texture for that. Oh, that is so gone. Like that trend is long gone. So sachet was really popular, and then it suddenly just stopped being popular, and all of this yarn is in dollar stores and stuff now. But it'll eventually come back. I just don't know how many years it's going to take for that to come back. Okay, next color up. Let's do green. No color is the wrong color. The only time it, the white and black, these are just sheeps. So no, not relationship to Boston transmission. Are you out from Carnes? I don't know what that means. Doing the Yasmin stitch in the baby yarn with, oh my god, the Yasmin, the Jasmine stitch or Yasmin stitch is unbelievably. It can be very difficult. People love it that don't understand crochet, but then once you try doing it, oh my god, nightmare. Yeah. So yeah. So have a great day, all. Joyce is saying goodbye for today. I'll be around later if you're kicking around. So I pretty much worked all weekend, working on content and stuff. I had a woman threaten me on Wednesday or on Saturday, and it's over something so mundane as like if she would just give me a chance to respond. So so she was like typing some of the words in uppercase to let me know that she was pissed off about something, and it's like, so anyway, I answered her back as sweet as pie, and I'm like, you know what, I would have done the work anyway, regardless if you would have typed in uppercase and regardless of the threats. It's just we're lacking in today's world a way to communicate on your first introduction to a company. versus, you know, actually having a serious problem. So they immediately jump to the threats of like, I'm gonna say stuff on Facebook about you and the whole 9 yards. I'm like, give me a chance, God. So anyway, that's kind of anyway, I didn't let it bother me because I'm like, you know, I'm not the one with the problem. And I still have not got a response from her. So if it was that urgent, you know, a thank you would have been nice, but I think that's asking too much in today's world. But we do lack that in today's world, the sense of being respectful on the first interactions with a company or a person, and just jumping to the immediately fight. Does anybody? I saw some really horrible reviews on our Avatar. I think it's the third one is out. I don't really have, based on the reviews that I've seen, I did not enjoy Avatar: Way of the Water. I thought it was a lot of violence, and it did not. The magic of the first Avatar versus the second one was just let's just get to the guns and let's start fighting. Including killing the whale and stuff like that, just for like a drop of whatever it was. Anyway, I just was really disturbed by it. So I'm hearing that the third one is pretty much almost like a duplicate of number 2. So I don't know. I have really no interest of seeing it though. Okay, so Rosalie's writing a book. It's about let them what people say bother you. Yeah. I had a guy yesterday telling me that my glasses suck. That I need to change my glasses because it distracts him. But then his user hand name was White Trash George. So I think he just gets a kick out of just trashing people. Anyway, I found it quite funny actually. So you can't post links on our feeds here on YouTube. It's a restriction that we have in place. And the reason for it, the reason for it is that the amount of porn that gets posted in the links of YouTube videos and YouTube lives like this is actually astounding. So we have it set so you can't post links. So the only person that can post links is Wendy and I. You'd be really surprised. I had one issue with a creator for like almost a year, and they kept changing their name. Every update was a new name, but it was the same picture. And so anyway, I have contacts with YouTube, and I'm like, if you guys can at least identify the photo and realize it's the same photo that is being used in every different update, even though the username has changed, like, can you not like isolate the photo? So they said that they were working on trying to deal with that stuff. But anyway, it took almost a year. But it got to the point where the spam was so intelligent that it would not use any spam words. That it was just like talking like a regular person, but then the profile photo was nudity. So anyway, it took forever to get that person out. The current stitch along is the Study of Complicated or the Flower Bouquet Blanket. It's currently on our homepage of our website. If you're looking for that, I had to just re-edit the video late last night. I did a voice slip, even though my hands and my voice did two different things. So even though I demonstrated properly, I said the wrong thing and I caught a user off guard with it. And I put a note in the video comments, but it's getting overlooked. One of the things that I think is ridiculous is that on YouTube on a desktop, when I pin a comment, it stays to the top, but on the mobile, it does not. So people cannot see that I've already addressed something. And because comments can be a lot, they don't scroll through on the mobile. They just immediately hit a comment and make a comment over something that was been addressed already. So anyway, so I had to fix that last night. I'm not upset about it. Just it's something that needed to be done. I'm expecting too much by expecting people to read through comments. And Wendy's going to say to me, stop making sense. So yeah, so that's kind of what's going on in my world. Get to go, okay. Another color's done. I found on my front half of my shorts, I cut the strands so short that I have trouble sewing them in. So I'm just being a little more generous. I can always order more yarn if I want to. If I feel inclined to do that, the shipping time is pretty quick. Okay, so that's going over to this side. Okay, what color? We'll do lavender. So I'm currently writing a homework book. When I say currently, not right at this moment, but I was yesterday, for the Alaskan Crochet Cruise. So I have a community project in mind that's not a blanket for the... We've only not done a blanket one other time. We did amigurumi characters, farm animals. And it gets, when you do amigurumi on a cruise ship, people kind of get really antsy about it. But some people actually surprise themselves as well. So I have an idea of a moose, an amigurumi moose. And so the homework is that they have to do the head and the snout or the nose first before they come to the ship. And then the rest of it is done on the ship. And I'll have safety eyes on the ship and stuff. They're going to stuff the heads and the nose before they come. And so therefore we don't have to, we waste, when we bring polyfill to the cruise ship, we end up throwing out a lot of it, or it goes home in people's luggage. And because you have to buy for like 100 people polyfill. So I'm asking people to get the heads and the snouts done first, and then finish the rest on board with everybody. So I'm doing a Lovey style moose, but I'm designing in real time. So that's currently on my plate. So you're working on my hypnotic tiles. So the hypnotic tiles blanket, I actually did during a craft show. The craft show was over 2 days. And the craft show had changed ownership, and the new craft show owner really dropped the ball in advertising, and nobody showed up. Like, usually at opening, there was hundreds of people waiting to get into the craft show, and they opened up and there was just like 10. So anyway, I realized, so I never had anybody walk past my booth until 11 o'clock in the morning when the show opened at 9. And anyway, I did the whole hypnotic blanket while I was sitting at the craft show for a weekend. It was just dead. And it was the first time that mega craft show was dead like that I saw. It was the last time I ever went to that one as a vendor. So I will show I hope that's a neat piece. I hope you're sure when you're done. That's probably not talking about me. So Daniel says I probably should add pockets to my shorts. But I haven't got that far in my thinking yet. Let me just get my basic shape done. Put your glasses on your moose, Mikey. I should. So Daniel and I are actually having our first vacation that we had in years. When is it? I think it's the end of next week or the week after. Anyway, we are heading down to the US on a cruise ship for 4 days. And I'm really quite excited about it. We do a lot of travel, but we usually travel as crochet groups. And so I'm not technically off the clock. I'm working. Like, you got to entertain people and stuff. So anyway, it's going to be our first vacation in years that we're just by ourselves. So I'm really looking forward to that, just to do that. So, so Daniel's trying to find the right outfit for him. We're going to a party on board the ship that's going to be fun, like wild. So anyway, so I'm really excited about that. And the outfit that I'm going to be wearing doesn't have pockets for me to keep a phone. So I'm going to leave my phone in my cabin and just enjoy the night. Let's see if we meet anybody new, somebody new to talk to without being crochet based. So yeah, so we're going to be on the same ship for a crochet cruise next year. So we're going down on the same ship so we can get photographs. We have to see the pre-hotel that we are going to book as a group. So we're going to see all of that. We're going to meet the people in charge for Virgin Voyages. So it's a cross combination of a personal trip versus just doing a little bit of that schmoozing just to understand the ship. We've never been on a Virgin cruise line before. And one thing that's different about Virgin that really intrigues me a lot is that there's no buffet, and there's no grand dinner halls like a typical cruise ship. So there's 20 restaurants on board. You can eat at any one of the 20. Daniel's already booked our evening meals already for the ship already. And we tend to eat late. So the crochet cruises, our dinner's like 5:45. To me personally, that's way too early. So Daniel and I tend to eat dinner around 8, 9 o'clock at night. So our reservations for our meals are late into the evening, like they would be at home. So I'm really quite excited about that. The whole ship is entertainment based. The itinerary that we have for the crochet cruises looks really exciting. It's got a drag flair to it, but it doesn't mean that it's a drag queen cruise. Each one of the cruise ships has their own drag hostess. And anyway, we're going to lean into her for entertainment. So we have rented her to have a private party with her, with our group. And there's a pajama party on board. That's ship-wide. And there's a scarlet party, all red, all there. And then we have bingo and 2 cocktail parties, I think. So it's a very entertainment-based cruise line versus other stuff that we've been on. So I'm intrigued by it. And another one done. So my surgery is probably in another month away. But because it is my personal vacation, if I'm not feeling great, Daniel can still meet with the executives and do all of that, and I can lay down if I have to. But I just got to watch what I eat. Okay, so let's grab another one. See how my system works here? People are like, this doesn't make any sense. It makes total sense. Yeah. So that's cool that you were able to set up your itinerary. So this ship is very different. So there's no buffet like there is a big ship, and I know some of you are like, "Oh my God, no buffet." So Virgin has doesn't want to waste food. You've seen at the end, if you've been on a cruise, you've seen at the end of the night how much food is still left on the buffet. Like all of that is garbage, right? And so they Virgin prefers to make their food as they're going. So it's made to order for you. And I really like that concept because that's one thing I do. I shouldn't really admit this, but sometimes I'm on the ship and I'm looking towards the back of the ship and I see the smokestack trail that's following the ship, and I'm like, oh my God, I've caused that to happen. And so I kind of really like the idea that their food is made to order. I also like the idea that there's every restaurant on board, it's not an upcharge like the other cruise ships do. So you pick, 20 some odd restaurants there. You pick what you want. So we're really quite excited about that. And so our crochet groups are going to meet in the mornings and then afternoon, and then we're done for the day. But then the groups will have its contact with its Facebook group and be able to communicate, hey, I'm over here, because the whole ship turns into an entertainment ship later in the afternoon. So after 3 o'clock, it turns really completely entertainment. So we're going to lean into the ship for entertainment, so you can find a nook and cranny to be able to crochet with some new friends, and and because it is an adult-based ship, it is there's no kids on board. So I've heard it being called as the Big Kids Cruise. We almost called the cruise the Big Kids Cruise. Yeah. And so anyway, we called it Coco Dumore, and people on board will have to figure out who that is. And if you know, keep your mouth shut. But I don't plan on doing drag on board. But we're going to be doing drag queen bingo. So we might actually encourage people to get a foam drag queen wig, a foam one, and just show up to drag queen bingo as a private party, all with our drag wigs on. That seems kind of fun to me. I like stuff like that. Karen is actually, she had some foam wigs. She was actually Wonder Woman, big ass foam wig. The last thing she said, she sweated it out dancing on the floor. So I think it'd be kind of fun. I think the theming is what makes our cruise groups fun, right? So we got Christine in the house. She's from Minnesota area. I'm really enjoying your headband series with messages. Any chance you could create F-Ice version? No, I'm not doing that. We did think of one this morning though, but I don't want to do any politics like that. I know exactly what you're talking about, but there's nothing stopping you from creating your own. Just don't post it on our group. I just don't want to deal with that because I'm Canadian and it just goes places that I don't want to go. But I really like you're in Minneapolis. So when I was a truck driver, my run would end either in El Paso, Texas, Nogales, Arizona, or Minneapolis, St. Paul. And you would never believe what comes back from Minneapolis area. Craft dinner comes back from Minneapolis. So I would drop off my stuff in Minneapolis and pick up a load to come back to Ontario. That was craft dinner. And I love craft dinner. Actually, that sounds like a good lunch for today. So Christine, you're from Canada, but you're in the Minneapolis area. My last partner, they had so many family members that were actually ended up in the United States many, many generations ago that were out in Winnipeg area and then ended up going south. So Christine is going to do the same. Oh, Christine. Christine, did you change your username? Christine. Or Christy, sorry. I think of you often. Oh. I actually had like a craft dinner dish in Scotland with haggis, which the sheep. It was so delicious. I know it's hard to believe I even put that in my mouth, but I've had worse things in my mouth. Yeah. So you were born and raised in Barrie, Ontario. I lived in Barrie. Did you know that? I had the best apartment that was just up your street, and this is really before the internet just starts taking off. But I used to walk every day when I got home from work, unless it was raining, the waterfront of Barrie. And I charted it out one summer, and I had walked the equivalent to go from Barrie, Ontario, all the way down to Nashville, Tennessee. And so my friends and I would go for a walk. This is before the internet really kind of takes over, before the doom scrolling and everything. I loved living in Barrie. So I loved it. The winters are a bit harsh because of the lake effect snow, but and then so here's the thing, maybe too personal, but I'll share with you anyway. So anyway, I had a business in my 20s, and I got advice that was terrible advice, and said put everything through the books, and I put everything through the books, and I shouldn't have. And anyway, I got caught, and I ended up having to go bankrupt, and in my 20s, and I ended up with Barrie. And because of it, I had to give up my car. So then I ended up having to be on the Barrie transit system, going all the way to the south side of Barrie from Collier Street over to my workplace. And so waiting in the bus in the freezing cold and stuff, and to do that. And it took me years to dig out of the bankruptcy because nobody trusts you at that point. And so that's one thing about the Crochet Crowd, is that I declare everything through the books that are legal. And it's like, so I don't put through meals or anything like that, because that was part of my issue with the first time around. So anyway, so I'm very careful with my books now, because I don't want to do that twice. Because you know what? Without credit, you're screwed in today's world. So anyway, so I loved Barrie, but it was a really hard time in my life. I had to drive my car to the dealership and hand it over. And it was not great. It was not good times. And then in that perspective. And so I would have a budget of $10 a weekend to spend. And so I had to make $10 go. And that was the cost of basically 2 beers at the gay club. And that was my budget. So, yeah. So, okay. So Kane is doing variegated in the variegated color cover story, and Bernat Blanket with color Twilight. So Sutton, Ontario. So I also lived I lived in Newmarket in my high school years, and basically my wife and I lived in Newmarket. And then when her and I split, I ended up in Barrie. It was the only gay people that I knew, and I needed to be surrounded to understand what it was to be gay. And this is pre-internet. Really, I didn't know what to do. I knew I was gay, but I didn't know how to act. I didn't know how to behave. I didn't know how to do anything. And so at the time, and so for the new generation that's listening, at the time, they would have what they called the gay dances. And so once a month, an organization would arrange a gay dance, because there was no gay bar, there was nothing. And so basically the gay dance was kind of like I wouldn't say the underground, but it kind of was. And I looked forward to the gay dances, and the gay dances was in Aurelia. No, it wasn't. It was north of Barrie, in the middle of nowhere. And anyway, so I ended up moving to Barrie because I knew people that were gay because I was coming out of the closet, and that's how I ended up in Barrie. And from Newmarket on Oro. It was in the town of Oro. So basically, and then a gay bar opened. My roommates in Barrie actually opened their first gay bar in Barrie called the Spotlight. And that was kind of how I ended up doing drag in the whole 9 yards, because it was just like two doors away from my apartment, because it was their club. Yeah, so that's, and I did drag. I was horrible at it, but it was fun. So anyway, so the new generation, I don't think comprehends, depending where you live in the world, of course, but I don't think they comprehend what it was like to be in the closet, and not being able to function properly, and to be disrespected. So I actually launched a complaint against a retail store. So you know how they wear those headsets? Well, the technology had just come out in 2000. Anyway, I had an associate following me, and I love the store. My whole outfit was their store. I just love the store. I think it was called Urban Planet. Anyway, one of the associates was trailing me, and I heard her say into her headset, "This guy's a cheap fag." And all of a sudden, all the different associates, because I was the only one in the store, so I knew that something was going on. Why did I fasten that off? Because I got distracted. So anyway, they call. So she was basically referring to me as being a cheap fag because I went right for the clearance section. And anyway, I heard all of the associates, including the manager, laugh at the same time, and I realized that she was talking about me there. So anyway, I was looking at the clearance section, and I was just out of the closet, like just out, probably a month or two out, and I was like, oh my god, everybody sees me as a gay man, and I was like, I'm not used to that, and I'm really struggling. And so anyway, I ended up calling the corporate office. I think it was in British Columbia, Canada, all the way across Canada, and I called them and I said, this is my story. I'm not looking for a discount. I'm just looking for your associates to better understand their equipment for what it's used for. And anyway, so they promised me a 50% discount and that I need to go back to the store. And I said, you don't understand. I don't want a discount. I don't want 50%. I'm not going back. And I said, the line has already been crossed for me. And anyway, it really put in perspective. And I was so scared to be out of the closet. And for that to happen to me, I was really, really upset. So I was nice to them on the phone, and I said, you know what, I'm a new gay guy. I don't know how to function in this world, and to be called that when you're offering our clearance section, when I am like literally living check to check. And I said, my entire outfits are all from your guys. So to call me a cheap fag while I'm wearing all of your clothing does not make sense to me. So anyway, so that was kind of my story. So anyway. And it wasn't, so I can handle that word and I can be handled being called that, but at the time, because I was so new, I didn't know how to function in life. And because I had come out of the closet when I was at a workplace, as soon as I did, it was just game over for me, just because people saw me in a different light and I had trouble focusing. Anyway, so I think everybody goes through stories like that, right? So Urban Planet had the funny t-shirt. I liked the Urban Planet up until that moment. So I have never stepped back foot in one. I don't even know if they're still around. I'm an online shopper now, but it's amazing what you carry with you. The stories that we keep. But anyway, I think everybody has their demons and things they need to deal with. So one of my things about the crochet crowd is that I did not want to make it gay focused, even though I'm gay. I did not want the crochet crowd to be focused around the rainbow. That's one of the things that I put my foot down as soon as I created it. I don't want to turn this thing into an activist kind of crochet concept. I just want to crochet without a border, if that makes any sense. And the other thing I thought about when I was a kid, because I crocheted as a kid and I wouldn't tell anybody I would crochet. And I vowed to myself when I was a kid, that I'm hoping one day that men and boys and others can pick up a hook and be confident and to realize that crochet is for everybody. It's not just for one gender. And so then I ended up becoming a crochet person, and here I am. And who would have thought that, right? So, and now it doesn't bother me that my tool is pink today, but it bothered me as a kid a lot. And it bothered me that the yarn all had girls or women on the covers. That bothered me a lot. So my mom taught me how to do a chain and double crochet, and until I created the Crochet Crowd, I just used a book. It's upstairs. No, it's right here. This is the book that I learned to crochet on. It's the same book. I've had it all these years. So I lost it at some point. So this is how I learned to crochet. This is from this book. So I went to here, and what I did not know is Canadians, we don't learn the same way at this time. So I did not know that the US has its own terms. So I was learning UK methods. So it's written in UK terminology. So when I started teaching crochet, like, this is not a double crochet. I'm like, yeah, it is. And I flipped through my book. I'm like, what are you talking about? I had no idea that the Americans called stitches differently. So now we refer to it as North American terms. But anyway, so the book, because I'm not a strong reader, has crochet diagrams. And so I understood once I started using the diagrams, like, how to crochet. And so that's how I'm a crochet diagram reader, is from this book, reading it as a kid and then learning. So anyway, I love this book. It's still one of my favorites of all time. I was thumbing through it the other day, actually, for ideas. So yeah. So anyway, so that's the book I learned. So anyway, so here's the funny thing, though, if there's anything funny. So Red Heart comes along in 2000, and Red Heart comes along in 2012 and gives me a test trial to see if I'm a host. So they give me a pattern, and I'm like, I've never read a pattern in my life. It's always been a crochet diagram. I'm like, where's the damn diagram? And anyway, it was a hat. And so I had to literally learn, like, from 0 to 100 on how to read a diagram or how to read a pattern and actually follow it. And I screwed up so much. But I think with crochet diagram or pattern reading, it takes time, even for me, because I'm not a great reader. So do you think that you're happy now in life? It's a great question. I am going to be 53 this year. Yeah, I think I'm 53. I'm either 52 or 53. I don't know how old I am. I'm going to be 53 this year. So, my God, I need a calculator for that. Not pathetic. I don't observe my birthday, so I don't pay attention. So, am I happy in life? So, I would say to you that I am happy that I'm not at this time of the world's chaos. I ran into 3 boys that were my friends' boys. And so one's 32, and then it steps on down. And I said, how are you going to function in today's world? And they said that's a pretty damn good question. So they're kind of like at the position that they don't know where they're going to fit in because they can't afford to get off the ground, be able to move out and to be able to move on into adulthood. And I can see that from my perspective here as well. So I think, am I happy now in life? I think based on perspective like that, I think that I was born at the right era, because I moved out when I was 18 and I was able to be self-sufficient, the whole 9 yards. I don't think my story can be duplicated in today's generation. And I don't think it's fair for people of my age to categorize all of the younger generation as being lazy, because honestly, I think that based on the cost of living, I think it's stacked against them to be able to get on their feet on their own at a much earlier age. I read a statistic that the average kid now does not leave home until the age of 29. So basically, if you have a child now, you're basically going to be on the hook for 30 years financially to help that person get off the ground. And so I'm happy in that perspective. But my story could not be like my parents told me, and I shared this story on Facebook the other day. My parents told me at the age of 13, you need to buy your own clothes, you need to get a job. And so I did. I worked at Tim Hortons as a 13-year-old. And the cashier at the time was 12. It was just her and I in the stores, sometimes in the evening, just two of us working. And so people say today that was child labor. That is the 80s for you. And anyway, so they said you need to buy your own clothes and whatever, blah. And so I had to buy my own clothes. And you know what? I wasn't buying designer clothes. I was buying the discount clothing. And so I did what it took. And so my parents told me that if I want college, I'm going to have to pay for it on my own. So I knew that right up front when I was in grade 9. And so with that, I used my part-time job to buy 2 years of college. And I bought a brand new car, cash. And I don't think I don't think you can duplicate that in today's era. So I think sometimes we give the kids of today a hard time for not getting on their feet when I think it's stacked against them to be able to do that. Yeah. So yeah. So I don't know. It's pretty bleak, but I have a story to share with you. So I end up, I run a business, obviously, you know that. And anyway, so I pay all of my insurance all in one lump sum every year. So it's always in December. So that's my Christmas gift to myself, is to buy insurance. So anyway, we got 3 insurance. Like here in Canada, you cannot have a mortgage without insurance. So you have to have the mortgage, or you have to have insurance. So that's not something that you can get out of. I think in the United States it might be different, because that's a law. And then I have the vehicle insurance and then my liability insurance for the business. So I had to pay all of it. Anyway, they gave me on the house insurance $1,000 increase. And so normally it just goes up by, $50 or something like that. No big deal. But anyway, so it came back as the auto renewal of this, so increasing my price by $1,000. So anyway, so I never call the broker, because I just accept like a price increase, but it was so big. So I called and I said, I'd like to understand exactly what did I do wrong to have $1,000 increase. I said, I've never had a claim ever with you guys. I have never claimed anything, car, nothing. And anyway, so just one second. So anyway, I want to understand what I did wrong. Sorry, there's a consumer request. I gotta order somebody. I gotta give somebody a refund. So anyway, so I asked them. I said, "What did I do wrong?" I said, "My paycheck hasn't gone up like that kind of percentage." And they said, "Well, they plan on Nova Scotia is planning on raising everybody's insurance 30%." And I said, "Well, wait a minute." I said, "The cost of living or my paycheck hasn't gone up 30%. How do you justify that?" And they said, "That's just the way it is." And they said, "Well, the roof that's on our house was guaranteed for 35 years, and we're only on year number 17." And they said, "You're approaching year 20, and after that, we're going to start dinging you." And I said, "Yeah, but the roof was guaranteed for 35 years. How does that make any sense?" And they said, "That's just the way it is." So I asked my broker, and I said, "Okay, let's talk as if we're friends." And I said, what would you tell me if this was happening to you and you're increasing?" She goes, "I would get the agent to do this and this and this." And I said, "Well, you're my agent. Can you do this and this and this?" And they said, "Absolutely no problem." So anyway, it went back to review. And so if they were going to switch my broker service out, everything has been compiled into one policy. So basically, they said you're going to get dinged if you separate your mortgage from your car. And I'm like, "Oh, for God's sakes!" I said, "I don't understand." So and it said, "What?" So she said, "We can do a reassessment of your property, but just to let you know that if it's worth a lot more, we are going to ding you even harder." And I'm like, "Well, this seems like a lose-lose." And she goes, "Just leave it with me." So anyway, they reviewed the house. They had me in the wrong area of Nova Scotia, and they looked at the satellite view of my home and looked and realized I'm not in a neighborhood and the whole 9 yards. And anyway, they ended up dropping the rate $1,700. So instead of charging me up another $1,000, they took 1,000 off and then an additional 700 off. So normally I would pay a bill like that, but I'm like, holy cow. But I'm glad I called. Yeah. So Ola got some dog treats for they're gonna love you. No, that's dog treats for sure. Thank you, Andrea, for the tip for the dogs. They are gonna think you're the bestest. But anyway, I'm glad I called because normally I'm very passive. And I'm like, I just don't understand what I did wrong. Because everything is going up in price from the power to everything. And so if every company is doing it, they're basically just siphoning your money off. Anyway, that's kind of my long story. So it pays to question stuff. And I didn't even threaten anything. I just asked, what would you tell yourself if you were the person on my side of the phone? It's amazing what they'll tell you. Yeah. So Andrea, thank you so much for that. The dogs are gonna just think you're the bomb. So my dogs are on a raw food diet. So I'm working on my shorts now. So the front half is done or the back half, it doesn't matter. So I'm working on the other side of my shorts. So it's upstairs. But I'm using my work. So you're seeing how I'm using my system, right? You don't see me having to think too much. People say that's a stupid system. So anyway, so then I got somebody complained yesterday. So I put my amigurumi in a bag. So I find when I'm crocheting, I tend to scuff the yarn on my shirt or my pants. And so I want the head of my amigurumi to be like I just crocheted it. So I put the head inside a bag so that when it rubs on anything, it just stays scuff free. I hate when the yarn looks so scuffed when it's not supposed to. Yeah. You get more with sugar. Yeah, I'm kind of passive that way though. I just yeah. I just want to understand if I did something wrong, how I can fix it. You know, one thing I actually lowered we had an outdoor fire stove that was here when we moved in, and we got dinged for it. And then we took it. They said, you know, if you take that out, your insurance is going to go down by quite a bit. And so Daniel bulldozed it over with the tractor, and we took a photo. It's gone, and the insurance rate dropped. So I'm waiting for your inspirations delivery too. So it's your first. You know what? I know some people have stories about online, but I've never had a problem with your inspirations delivery. I've actually received stuff I was not supposed to get at all, period. Like, didn't even order, it just showed up. But I contact them and they sent out a new shipment for the new person. But that person had ordered yarn that I've never seen before, so that was kind of neat. So the big Caroline, you know what? It's all Caroline. It's all about the swing of the hook with the bigger yarn. I find I get cramps if I'm crocheting too long, so sometimes I got to take breaks because I really have to move my hands around for the larger yarn. So the fatter I've gotten, the thinner the yarn I've been doing. I don't know. It's a sickness or something. So anyway, so chicken math is happening around here. So we have, I think Daniel says we have 12. We have 12 bantam chickens. We have, I think, 13 quail. So Daniel's ordered another 16 chickens to come in. So we have, he saw, we have a breeder that's here in the area. And so he's getting the Brahma chicken, the really ones that are the size of a kid. He's getting 6 of those. So they're currently being incubated right now. So he'll get them as babies. And then he's got 10 lavender Moran chicken coming. And so he orders the chicken based on the chicken getting along with each other, but also making sure that the chicken goes with the garden color-wise. Where is the pattern? It's currently in my head. I have not written out my pattern yet. I have drawn the diagram, but the diagram is wrong. I changed out some things based on the first square being done, and I didn't like it. So I design on computer first, and then I try it, and then I didn't like it. So I've changed the corners to be a lot more simple. And because there's no sewing of these squares together, I changed it so that it would be a join as you go as well. So these are join as you go squares. So I can't do the outside square of the outside of each of these squares until I get my other project down from the stairs and do it. But I still got a whack of these to make before I can do that. So a program I use for designing is Adobe Illustrator. And yeah. So Journey members, is there any Journey members here in the house today? So Journey members is one of our membership levels. It's the highest membership level for YouTube. It's a monthly subscription. Just for our Journey members, I don't want you commenting to what I said in the last update, but make sure you do go back to the community post section for you. I did leave you a special coupon code for something last week. So I figured out how to do something. Request came in. I think her name was Alvara. She mentioned something on Facebook, and I'm like, so anyway, I checked into it and I realized I can do it. I don't completely understand my system. So anyway, so make sure that you do take a look at that. I did provide you something that is with your membership. One thing is, okay, so I should not even be admitting this, but one thing that's driving me nuts is that people are downloading the stuff that's free, which it's free, it's fine, but then they don't download it onto their machine. They just get the email, and so then they realize after the days that the links don't work because it's on a 30-day window for when you can download physically from the email. So anyway, so I've been getting a lot of people that went on a downloading spree early in the fall that their links don't work because they never downloaded. And so it's been a real pain in my rear end. One lady ordered 29 patterns, and so I had to send each of the 29 individually and 29 emails back to her because I should just tell them to go and reorder again to get a new code or to get a new link, which I think I'm going to do going forward. But so I've asked Daniel to take over customer service on that because that's like a common thing throughout the day. So I just had another one come in a few minutes ago. So anyway, so one woman says she did not know it's 30 days, and it says right in the email, this link lasts 30 days. But I think she downloaded, got the email, but didn't open the email. That's what I think's happened. Which is fine. Okay, so I'm going to start a new batch. So all of this, the random circles have been done. So now I'm going to start a new batch and right from scratch. And now I'm going to use my system from this side and then plop it over. And so each one of the middles is its own color. So I have not done a customer service thing in a while. I decided to lay off with that because it puts me in a negative space. So I have not done one of those in a while. So I've been focusing on the stitch techniques, which I think is probably better value for time. I did get a request this morning from Facebook that they think based on the pricing of the crochet cruises that we should be offering free cruises. But let's be honest, cruise ships don't allow you to travel for free. Somebody pays somewhere. The only time they allow that is if you've been gambling in their casino and then they want you to come back to spend more money in the casino. So anyway, that's one thing that we've never done where we inflate the ticket prices because you basically got to hide the cost of something like that in the ticket and charge everybody an inflated rate to be able to do that. And I refuse to do that. I don't think it's fair. There was one person that was actually offering a free crochet cruise on her website, and she actually gave away and actually paid somebody with their own credit card for one of our cruises. But somebody has to pay somewhere. Yeah. So am I still knitting? I haven't knit in a while. So anyway, I just think that people just have a wild perspective that things are free and that somebody doesn't actually pay the bill. But there I go again, trying to make sense of something that doesn't make sense. I don't know. Would you be pissed off about that if you were buying a crochet cruise and then you realize that I inflated your rate to give somebody else a free ticket? You totally would be. I would be. So yeah. So I don't know. It's hard to please everybody, but What was the first pattern you wrote? I want to give pattern writing a cut, starting with something simple. Did you find it intimidating? I did find it intimidating. In actual fact, I did not feel like I was a good pattern writer until I'm going to be 18 years old business-wise this year. March 6th is our 18th anniversary, 18th year. And what's available now versus what was available then is completely different. If you are interested in pattern writing, go to the Yarn Craft Council. They're based out of Florida, I believe, or Texas, one of the two. They might have moved. Anyway, they write the standards for crochet and they have resources for designers. And then basically the way that I write is within the standards of crochet. And that's the hardest thing to do. I tend to, before I really got good at it, I tended to mansplain. And so so my very first pattern, let me see if I can find it for you. I know what it is. It's a rainbow brim hat. And I actually just rewrote this pattern actually this year from the way it was done in 2009. Let me pull that pattern for you. It was the rainbow brim. And I did it because I found that the crochet hats, it's this one. And I did it because I find the crochet hats are very airy. So I designed this hat for me. I believe it's a free pattern too. I'm just checking on my patterns. I just rewrote it. Crochet knit hats, crochet hats. The pattern's $1.50 if you want to invest in it, but this is the very first pattern I ever did. I'm going to post the link to it. It's $1.50 Canadian, so it's like 99 cents or something like that, American dollars. Anyway, that was the first hat I ever did. And anyway, you can see in the written pattern, what it is. Now with the pattern writing, you can only say you can only say things a certain way. So it feels like you're copying other people, but there's only certain ways, like one single crochet in each chain to the end of the row. Like you can only say that so many times. So a lot of designers, we have the same lingo because it's within the standards of crochet. So you can tell if the designer is following the lingo or not by their explanation of the stitches or how their abbreviations are. Now, some people I prefer double crochet front post, so DCFP. Other people do FPDC, front post double crochet. So I have my own standard within myself of how I write things. And they both mean the same thing. It's just different designers write it differently. And so the way that I look at it is that yarn instruction or pattern instructions are like that, are like a conjunction of two meanings coming together. So we're going to double crochet and we're double crocheting in the front post. So we assign the stitch and then the action for it. So if it's more than just double crochet, then it's double crochet front post. So front post is the action. And so I call that a contraction when it comes to crochet language. And so then some people like to put the abbreviations sometimes in uppercase and stuff. I hate that, but some people do it. I don't know if there's a standard about that, but pattern writing has to be written as if you're reading a real sentence. So you don't capitalize anything unless it's at the start of a sentence or if it's intentional for one reason or another. Okay, that one's done. I got mine from Amazon, and there's a lot of different sources for these hooks. So just keep surfing around on Amazon. So what is the community page you was talking about? Where do I find the gift? It's a community post. Let me just take a look at what it is. I put it there, Elvira, because you mentioned it the other day. Wendy and I talked about it really quickly, and I think our system can do something like that. I'm just taking a look. I think it's called the post or community post. It's on the home page. Right now, how many patterns? I think I'm just shy of 400 patterns since 2008. But I've been doing a lot of designing in the last 2 years. It's called the posts. On the home page, it's under post. Because you're a Journey member, you will see this, because you will see, I always address the Journey members privately in the messages. So you're going to see it if you're a Journey member. The public will not see this update. And it is the second post down 4 days ago. And that's a result of you having a great suggestion. So hopefully that'll work itself out. The only thing that coupon doesn't work for is for our retreats. And I mentioned that in the update as well. It's one thing to do something with the digital work, and it's another thing for a real thing. So I saw your posting on Facebook. But I did not want to tell you that on Facebook because you're a Journey member, and so I get a lot of slack about Journey members having special treatment. But because you pay for the monthly fee, you get an extra bonus that all patterns for you are free. I just didn't know how to do it, but as I alluded to, that code is going to change because people come and go on the membership. It's never consistent with the same people every month. So yeah. So thank you for the suggestion, and appreciate your patience with that. Do you sell your patterns on Ravelry? I have just started Ravelry, but I think I've sold 3 patterns in the last month on there. It's not a big thing for me. But I prefer to go through my own website though, because then I know how many people are downloading and I have a sense of what's popular and what's not. So on our Mikey Stitch Studio that I did, the best sellers is the most downloaded in real time. I'll take a copy. So if you go on to this website here, this is our downloadables. If you go there, if you go on the home page and just go down to popular designs, those are what people have downloaded the most in real time. So it gives me an indication of what people are interested in. People really do like that F this cowl. I think there was like 1,000 downloads within, but I did the first 4 days of being a free pattern before I switched to cost, just to get it. So prices do change. So sometimes it's free, and then sometimes it can be charged for. So sometimes I put it for free for a limited time, and then I add $1 or $2 or $3 to the pattern. Oh, so I'm expecting a Walmart delivery. So I ordered something from Walmart for the very first time last week or 2 weeks ago. I ordered granny square jackets that are long trench coats. They were on clearance, and somebody was bitching about it on another Facebook group. And if you really look, so I did a blow up of it and realized it's just knitted. It just looks like crochet. So anyway, I ordered 2 of them because they were on clearance for like $35. And they are machine knit, so I'm not worried. If they were actually real crochet, I would not have done that, because ethically, we all know that crochet is made by hand. So somebody would have been sitting somewhere making that coat for $35. So I would have had an ethical issue with that, versus machine actually knitting it. So you can actually see in the square when it's machine knit, even though it looks like crochet. It just does not look the same. Can you please put on the group where I can join the membership, the Journey memberships? Just 1 second. So there's 3 membership levels. The Journey is the highest one of the group, but you have access to all the tutorials all the time. And now access to free patterns. So let me just get that for you if you are interested. So there's never any pressure. So the first one is just to buy me a cup of tea for a month. That's the first membership level. So there's 3 memberships. So there is there's the cup of tea from Mikey. So it's buying me a cup of tea for a month, just 1 cup of tea. The other one is the Stitchers Passport. You want to support the Crochet Crowd, but you also want advance notice for events and stuff like that. And the Stitchers Journey is the biggest membership of the group. And you'll see price-wise, there's not much difference between the group. I have a Walmart mentality, more for less. And here comes the link for that. Never any pressure, and you can cancel at any time. So it's controlled between you and Google. So I don't know your credit card information. I'm not notified who you are when you join the membership, and you can cancel anytime. It does not notify me when you cancel. So I don't take it personal. So the membership changes daily. So the cup of tea is just it's just an easy way to buy me a cup of tea if you're interested. And so it is it will convert to whatever currency you live in. So in my currency, because I'm Canadian, I have to charge Canadian dollars, but it converts it automatically to US dollars if you're US, and charges you in US dollars. So anyway, so the program I use to design the diagrams cost me like $300 a month. And that's just one program out of the many that we use. Yeah, so you'll get a special sticker on your posting as well. You get a special emoji that is beside your name if you're a member. And you also get one super sticker. So MDL, Michael, has just used his super sticker to get my attention during the chat. So Amy apparently met me at the North Carolina tent sale. You were so nice and friendly to a no crocheter. Well, I'm not always friendly, but when you're on, you're on. You got to encourage people to be creative. I don't care what level you are at, just be creative. Now, I was teaching somebody 2 years ago that just drove me nuts. Anyway, it was an in-person thing. And every time she'd get frustrated, she would take the hook in her project and throw it. And so she's just learning to crochet. And I'm like, and she would throw it across the table. So then I'd have to get up and grab it back and put it back in her hand. And I said, you know, every time you're throwing your hook, you're just getting more and more upset. So anyway, so I finally just lost my patience with her and just sat back. I'm like, well, if she threw the hook, she can get it herself. And anyway, I hate that kind of stuff. So sometimes you're better off to learn on your own. So Jilly, she's using her super sticker. 3 years, where did the time go? So as they're longer in the membership, their emoji changes. So currently they've officially got crochet flowers for the people that have been with us for 3 years already. And eventually they're going to have a big yarn bush in the end, depending on how long they stay with us. And you can cancel at any time, but it remembers. So I think it can pick up your membership. And you can tell when people are new, they get a yellow yarn heart seed. And that heart seed will grow into a yarn flower the longer they stay. Yeah, I know. Michael, I picked up on that too. Leave it to the gaze. You can't even say like an innocent word like bush without it like, I know. Michael, Daniel is trying to convince me. I'm designing a moose right now, and he is challenging me to call this thing Knuckles. Oh my God, I think I might do it. I might do it. Knuckles the moose. Yeah. Have you had any invites in your area with invited guests? Yes, we've done it twice. We do have a local stitch group that meets on Wednesdays here as well. Not at my house, but here in the area. It's my group, and we meet up every Wednesday. We don't allow children in the space because the group is just like me, bad. Yeah. So Christy says, name it Knuckles. All of a sudden, Christy's going to feel like she's going to want to crochet a moose. Raise my eyebrows. Oh my God. You know what it reminds me of, Knuckles? It reminds me of Lily Tomlin when she was a phone operator and she has to call a customer. It was one of her skits. And she goes, don't make me send so-and-so because she makes it a point of, I don't remember what she called the guy, but she makes a point. It says, don't make me there because you're possibly going to lose an eye and possibly the use of your left arm or something crazy like that. And so when I think of that, Knuckles, I'm thinking of a bouncer. Other than the obvious. So that would be my side story. Will you have any planned more events with guests planned this year? Yes, we have Prince Edward Island here in the area. That's currently right now. I think there's 400 people on the list for that. Karen is contacting people on the list. You can sign up for the list in case it doesn't get full by then. It's available on the events section of our website if you're interested. You're old enough to know who Lily. I had to explain who Carol Burnett was the other day. I'm like, you are kidding me. So anyway, I was telling a young lady that, and I'm like, you know what? Carol Burnett is like a pioneer of humor, but also women, finally getting into broadcasting and being taken seriously and stuff like that. I said, she is like one of your founders of life. I still watch Carol Burnett on YouTube once in a while. The humor is so mindless, but it's fun. Ernestine, yeah. Ernestine, one rainy day. So anyway, so I had explained. And then I was talking to another person, didn't know who the Flintstones was. I'm like, oh my God. That was like lunchtime TV. You come run home from school, you watch an episode of Flintstones, and then you have to run back to school for lunch or for after. Carol Burnett was on Palm Royale. I did not know that. We started watching Palm Royale, but I think we just got bored of it. I think That singer is in it. He's gay. He came out of the closet. Rosie O'Donnell made a big issue when he went on stage for the very first time, and then he becomes the big thing. I think Ricky, I think his name is. Yeah, maybe. Ricky Martin. Now, I binged, have you seen Members Only, the Palm Beach Club or Palm Beach? Oh my God. I sit there and I crochet. I'm like, you people have more money than you know what to do with, and yet you still find the most stupidest things to fight about. And it's probably all scripted anyway, but still. I'm not a rich guy and I don't have that kind of shit to fight about. I don't even think I fight with my friends. I don't even know why I'm saying that out loud, because I just don't think I do. I don't think I need to. I think I got good friends. I don't know. There is a Moose Knuckle Shuffle. Knuckle Shuffles. Oh my God. The dentist scene with Harvey Korman and thing is my favorite of all time. Absolutely. Actually, there's another episode. Have you seen the outtakes when Tim is actually turns into a dog and his boss shows up? Oh my God, the outtakes on that one are just absolutely insanity. So yeah. Me, you, and work are a good team, Amy. Yeah. I hope you're doing good, Amy. I actually wanted to talk to you privately, Amy. Something came across my feed that I wanted to ask you about. Oh my God, look, I didn't follow my system and I made 2 of the same middles. Ugh, my life is so rough. That's going to wreck my system, so I'll put it aside. It was nothing bad, Amy. It was just something popped in my mind. So 2, 4, 6, 8. I like the elephant scene. Yeah, those are the good old humor. Actually, I was reading an article the other day, which I know is hard to believe that I can actually read. But I was reading an article that they say today's humor is so polarizing. And I think I'm struggling with that as myself, because my humor can be really off-putting. And they said even producing Seinfeld in today's generation or today's era would be considered highly offensive. And so I'm kind of struggling with the sense of my own humor, because what I find funny can be kind of rude, and the kind of what comes out of my mouth can sound funny to me but offensive to others. And so I'm struggling with that right now. So I don't know. Has anybody gotten a point of view of that? To humor bubble up again in PI. Yeah, wait till you see what Karen's got planned for you. I think that was my question, Amy. That is my question. I'm just going to ask you right now while you're here. don't say anything online publicly. Because I thought it was a mistake. I just sent you a message. I was going to ask you about that because I thought that looked weird to me. I can see you with the Greg Gutfeld. Oh my God, don't compare me to him. Oh my God. He goes places I don't even want to go. You know who I feel like I'm closest humor-wise is Alan Carr. Or not Alan Carr, the British guy. Is it Carr? Alan. Is it Alan Carr? He was on RuPaul's Drag Race. Alan Carr. He was just on Traders. He is the funniest guy ever. And him and I's humor, I just look him up. Yeah, Alan Carr. I find I am closest with Alan Carr, humor-wise. And the way Alan tells a story, oh my God, I'm just like living for whatever comes out of his mouth. He just makes me laugh. He tried to vote out somebody on the Traders just because they farted on one of the activity events. Oh my God, I laughed because that's something I would do. So if does anybody have humor that matches a celebrity? They're just called ergonomic crochet hooks. They're generics. They're generic crochet hooks. Alan is funny being British. So when I went to Scotland, because I've always had like a wild sense of humor, when I went to Scotland, I felt like the Scottish and the English humor, because my one side of my family is all English, and my last name is British, is that I did not realize that that's a thing. And so I have been wondering my entire life, where did my humor come from? And I realized that it's part of my upbringing, but it's also part of the culture, the British humor. So actually, I felt kind of good about that. Eddie Lizard. I don't know if I know that one. So Alan Carr just makes me laugh. English humor is rare. Haha, we are a special breed. It totally is. There is a humor there that is undertone. It's got innuendo. It's got everything I love about humor. And it kind of makes sense. My dad was British. So I'm the first generation of Canadian for my dad's side of the family. I'm the first one of the group. This is from a gift shop from Scotland when I was there. It's a really cold day here in Nova Scotia. Oh, Wendy's just showing me who Eddie Izzard? She's just showing me who that is. Oh, I'll have to look that person up. I don't recognize them. Very dry, very crass. No, Eddie Izzard. She said there's no L. So I like dry, crass humor. My one partner, oh my God. So we went to a remake of Herbie the Love Bug comes out. This is in the early 2000s. And he is in the theater just laughing up a storm. And I'm like, God damn, this humor is horrible. And it's like this car starts squirting oil on the guy's feet. And the guy doesn't pull his feet back. He wiggles it and screams as it's still continuing to put oil on his feet. And I'm like, are you an idiot? And anyway, I hate humor like that. If it's too slapsticky like that, ugh, no. Anyway, it was embarrassing to be in the theater with. Oh. But my partner thought at the time it's different than Daniel, but I think he actually thought I was a funny guy. We laughed a lot. So I'm making a pair of shows. Eddie does their shows in drag, and it's so hilarious. Oh, he's a drag. Okay, that's not the picture I saw. Let me just. She's got me a link. Maybe I recognize the drag photo. I don't think I know that person. I don't recognize that name. I'll take a look. Apparently, it's a stand-up comedian, British stand-up comedian, an actor, and activist. Comedy styles in the form what appears to be rambling, whimsical monologues. Wendy's schooling me. She obviously knows who this person is. Oh, now Michael here in the chat is just messaging me. Yeah, I don't recognize that one person at all, Michael. Yeah. So Frances is liking crochet while she's on the right thing. We're just stitching out today, just gossiping. Your own little private stitch social without having to leave your house, or in Amy's case, work. Oh, Amy's responding to me. Oh, no, she just looked at my message. So you're working in crocheting, so... Oh, holy shit. Oh, wow, Amy. Wow. That was not on my bingo card. Good for you. Good for you. So Jolene's in the house today. So I put away my Christmas village yesterday. I was so sick in the fall. Daniel did most of the decorations, but it took me a month to set up my village because I just couldn't work more than 2 minutes on it. So I was kind of proud of myself that it took me 3 hours to pack it away nicely and yesterday, and to put it completely away. So I was kind of proud of myself. It was a milestone for me. So good for you, Amy. If you're still in the live chat, good for you. You're a better person than I am, that's for sure. So yeah. When you were into, you were compared to Jim Carrey. Now he's Canadian, right, Jim? Has Daniel learned anything fiddle tunes. Daniel is a professional musician, so he does not do fiddle music. He is more of a Baroque, but he gave away his instruments. He got really upset about something, and he gave away all of his instruments. I want to say 10 years ago. Anyway, a friend here locally gave Daniel a piano. Anyway, it's out in the studio. So Daniel has a personal issue of people listening to him play. So, okay, so just hang on, 2, 4, 6. Just making sure I got all the colors, make sure my system's working. So anyway, so a friend gifted him a piano, so he plays out in the studio because he has a personal thing of people listening to him play, including me, because he doesn't. Here's the thing about Daniel, is that he does not listen to music the same way that I do. So I listen to music and I feel the music. I close my eyes and I go with the rhythm and whatever, and I dance. He doesn't hear music the same way. He hears it from a technical point of view. And so if there's a note, even in dance music, that sounds out for him, it ruins the magic of music for him. So he's professionally trained, but also hears music from a different point of view. So he can appreciate fiddle music, but it's not his thing. He likes more technical, Bach, Mozart, the whole 9 yards. So what he can do, he can, as long as he has sheet music, he can do, he can play with others that are, what's that instrument where they bang? It's not an xylophone. It's, I don't remember the name of it. It sounds really sweet. It's like an xylophone, but it's on wires. I forget what that's called. Anyway, when he plays his violin with that, holy cow, it's like magic. Dulcimer? No. Yeah, maybe. Dulcimer? Dulcimer? Dulcimer. Yeah, that's what it is. Suzanne, you're right. So he wanted me, when we first got together, he wanted me to learn an instrument, and so that we could play together. So we got seriously talking that I was going to buy a harp and play alongside him, but it never materialized. But I can barely crochet a straight line, let alone play an instrument. So anyway, so we were going to probably just kind of play together. Right? Hammer dulcimer. That's exactly what it is. So now I'm working my way now through the next layer. So I do all of the first rounds first. And now I use my magic system. For those that are late joining me, I have my own little randomizer toolkit right beside me, basically a basket. And so I do all the centers first, and then the yarn is sitting on the one side. So I will put it down here, grab the next center up, and then just pick a different color. And then when I'm done with that color, I move it to the side of the basket so that I've used it, so that I don't use the same color twice. And I'm focused on the squares being kind of like really out there. Yeah. I'm being nosy, but does Daniel work? Yes, he works for me. Some of the crochet crowd stuff is, so the thing about Daniel, he doesn't want to be in front of the camera with you guys. So he's the behind the scenes guy. So with his musician stuff, he'd like to be part of the orchestra, but not be the center of attention of an orchestra, if you know what I'm saying. So that's what makes our relationship work, is that if there's two of us trying to fight for attention. I see this with another couple of gay guys, that they seem to be competing against each other, and yet they're on the same platform. And that seems counterproductive to me. Because you can almost feel it in the camera that if one gets too much attention, the other one gets a little feisty. And actually, Mike from MDL, like, his partner is off camera too, but he includes his partner as far as like storytelling and stuff. But I think he's very much like Daniel and I, which is kind of, his partner just kind of stays out of the way. Has anybody ever noticed that? Actually, you know what I noticed that on is that girl, that Balin, she has Tourette's syndrome. I actually think I saw a clip of her trying to get her man to do something, and you can see it with his eyes and his tone that he doesn't want to be on camera. And so she's forcing him to be on camera when he doesn't want to be. And I felt really sad for him. So then he gets negative reviews for not wanting to cooperate with her on something. And I'm like, you know what? There's a time and place. You have to recognize that your partner doesn't want to be on camera. So anyway, I kind of lost respect for that. And there's other times he's really quite engaging. So I think there's a time and place, especially if you're in my world. Right? So MDL's got the same kind of relationship as I do with his man. Just, they're there for support, but they're not the focus of attention. Many people have asked Daniel to start his own YouTube channel when it comes to gardening, but he doesn't want to. So he belongs to a few groups on Facebook that he's actually gotten himself out of. Their flower-based plant groups. And he said these people just fight over plants they don't recognize. So then he said they mislabel a plant, and then other people are like starting to fight with them that the plant is called something else when in actual fact it's the right name. And he said, you know, this whole social media can be quite too much. So he said he doesn't want to turn some of his life into a social media judge fest. And yet his partner is that guy. Who would have thought, right? I haven't told this story in a while, but Daniel actually saw a psychic before he met me. And the psychic told him that he's going to meet within 6 months a guy that's going to change his life. And he said the guy is popular, but not popular, but he's not a celebrity. And she said the guy doesn't realize that he's popular, but the guy likes to walk, and the guy likes just to have fun. And anyway, so it turns out she was talking about me, and I met Daniel 6 months later. And so everything kind of made sense for him, like, because some people call me a celebrity, which I absolutely hate. But she said the guy is going, so he says, when you meet the guy, he says, you're going to want to encourage him to do what he's doing, because it's going to take him far. And it turns out it was me. So he told me this story, I think, in the first year I met him, like the first few dates. So anyway, so when my last partner before him did not like me being on YouTube. And he had a real problem with that, because it was too much of my personal life being online, and he wanted a more private life. And so obviously if you're on YouTube, that whole private life is gone. And so when I met Daniel, he says, let's go further. So Daniel created a community orchestra, and earlier on in his life, And so he saw the crochet crowd as a way to bring community together, but without being music. And so we worked together, especially in the first few years, to figure out how to make the crochet crowd a community focused concept. And he says, you already have it in you. It's just a matter of just steering me in the right direction. And that was the start. So Daniel and I will, February 6th is our anniversary, and we are going to go on year number 17. So the crochet crowd was developed a year before I met him. So when I say developed, it means that I had the channel already, but it wasn't until Daniel came along to help me make it a community. So it's actually Daniel named our company the Crochet Crowd. We sat there. I remember the moment we did it too. And the moment it came out of his mouth, I'm like, that is the name. He says, you never want the community to be focused around your name. He said, just focus it around the topic and focus it on we, the community, and never about you as a person. So don't turn the channel into a gay central. Just stay neutral with that stuff and just work on it as a community. That's what happened. Yep. Yep. So Lori is apologizing. She's late. Lori. So what was the name of your shop, Suzanne? Kind of curious. Sometimes you're too close to a situation to call it. We did think about community as far as like a group of people. We came up with things like the crochet clique, but we found that the word clique was just too polarizing, and that was even in 2000. So I was already doing this, and 2 years into it, then we came up with the crochet crowd because we then officially went to a business from just a hobby channel. And so we had different things. The crochet clique was one, but and Daniel was right. He says it sounds too Mean Girls to do that, and it sounds too elite for what I want to do. He says you just want to keep teaching new people how to crochet and use basic yarns. He said so. He said there's nothing cliquey about that. That's just community. Yeah. Sheep can't knit or crochet. Sheep can't knit. That's cute. So I think the name of the company can make or break you. There's some really, I really, you know whose name I really like a lot, and is Repeat Crafter Me. Sarah's name for her business is phenomenal. She questions it sometimes, and I'm like, you got the best name. It's easy to remember. It sounds joyful. It's got that bit of innuendo to it. I love it. So I did not want something like Mikey's Crochet or whatever. Mind you, the new website, Mikey Stitch Studio, is focused on my designs, and that's intentional. But the crochet crowd still is around. Even the word sheep can be polarizing. Do I even want to know? I heard a thing the other day that I still don't believe. is true. Actually, I don't even think I'm allowed to say the word here on Facebook. We heard, I'm not going to say the word, but it starts with M, and it has something to do with somebody hurting somebody else. It starts with them. Don't say the word because it's going to be a trigger word. Apparently you're not allowed to say that, but then so immediately out of Daniel's mouth, because we were told this together, is that he said, well, how do you do Jessica Fletcher with she wrote? So anyway, apparently the new expression now is unliving. And I'm like, that is so ridiculous. Anyway, that's somebody was asked me earlier in the broadcast, am I happier now? I'm happier at this stage of my life because stuff like that just drives me nuts. Has anybody heard of that? I don't know. I have not heard that before. Unliving. Unalive. That's what it is. Unalive. Yeah. Megan Stella told me that. I actually thought she was kidding. Because Stella, she's a funny girl. Like unhoused. I've heard that one too. I know. I sometimes think we're doing the world a disservice for not calling things out for what it was. I agree. So what else is going on with people's what else is going on in people's hooks? So I'm using a acrylic cotton-based yarn I shared earlier. It's called Red Heart with Love. Better half. It's 50% acrylic, 50% cotton, and you can really feel the cotton in it. It feels luxurious. It's got a bit of weight to it too, as I said before. So it's called Red Heart with Love, Better Half. Anyway, I really like it a lot. So anyway, I'm designing a pair of crochet shorts for myself. I love your hat. My hat is just a gift shop hat that I bought in Scotland. It's a cold day here in Nova Scotia. Even though it's warm in the house, it just looks cold outside, and I'm surrounded by windows. So it looks chilly as hell out. Oh, you know what? Michael, there was a really good reel this morning of Tunisian. I think it looks like a star stitch, but in Tunisian. It looked fascinating as hell. You should look. I will see if Daniel will send that to me, and I'll send you a copy of the reel. You should look at it. It's really interesting, like really interesting. I don't love Tunisian that much to look too hard into it, but it looks pretty cool. So a knit hat pattern called Babel. That was very popular. Oh, this hat is called Babel. It's all over the gift shops in Scotland. It's machine knit, I'm sure. Anyway, it's really well constructed though. It's a cool hat. Babel. I'm gonna write that down, Megan, because somebody's gonna ask me that in the future, and I can just blog about it, and then Wendy can just put a link to it. Babel. So Amy is back. So I did get your messages, Amy. You're a better person than I am. And congratulations. You probably can't hear the wind out there. The wind out there is nasty as hell. So apparently I'm reading Wendy's mind. I know that's right. When I wear my Newfoundland sweater, people are like, where's the pattern for that? It's in Newfoundland, as they make them there. And my sweater today is just a cheap retail sweater. Lately, I've been shopping a lot. I've been doing a lot of thrift shopping. I've been shopping at Value Village. And don't get me started about supporting Value Village. We have a lot of thrift shops where I live. But they do a lot of good in our area. And they employ people that probably couldn't get a job at other places. So I'm supportive of that. Everybody needs to be able to function. Anyway, you never know. You can find some pretty good finds there. So it's kind of weird when you go shopping though, and you find out something that you dropped a week earlier is on the shelves, and then you're like, "Oh, I love that," and I'm like, "Oh God, that was mine." So I spend most of Wendy's just commenting to a guest here. I think she's one of our journey members. I spend more time on YouTube than I do any other platform. I feel like YouTube is where people need me as far as like helping. So I spend a lot more time on YouTube than I do Facebook. One thing I did not do in the first half of my shorts, the front half, I did not weave in the ends as I went, and then I had a million ends to deal with. So I'm doing it as I'm going now. Oh, so yeah, so I'm reading comments from the face. Yeah, I'm seeing both Facebook and YouTube at the same time. So as I shared a story with on Facebook the other day, is like I grew up in thrift shops, and we did a lot of hand-me-downs. The hand-me-downs went all throughout the town. There was a town of like 100 people. And so basically you look at the kids that are a little older than you realize you're wearing their clothes in a year later. And so I grew up really thrifty that way because that's what my parents could afford. So it's made my beginning of life really kind of appreciate where I've been able to take my life to. And, my parents dug themselves out of really, through hard work, they dug themselves into middle class. But we were never the rich family at all. Still not. I get a lot of people judging me though because of my house, but they don't realize I never had kids, and then basically the dogs are the kids. But so my money hasn't gone towards raising another child or children. So I've been able to travel a lot and do a lot of cool things without the worry of feeding another mouth in the house. But the dogs, you might as well just they probably cost just as much as a kid. At least our dogs do. I was telling Daniel this morning, he was a liar to me. He says, I'm going to get the dogs and they're not going to cost much money and they're going to be full of love and they won't be a problem. And meanwhile, he gets up 3 times a night to let them out to go pee. And so I have my own bedroom in the house because I just couldn't function with the dogs needing to get up and down like that all night long because I got to work in the morning, like to be online with you. Daniel can work behind the scenes, but I got to be in front face of the camera. So I said, anyway, I basically moved into my own bedroom here in the house. So our home is only a 2-bedroom home. So it's not as big as it looks on camera. It's actually smaller than the house we came from in Ontario. But it's better laid out. My whole office is away from my living space, where before my house was in my workspace. And so I could never get away from work. So when I go out from the office, I'm out of work mode. So people might hear me, if I'm answering a consumer, I got to go to the office. It means I got to go back into the workspace in my house. So I don't come down here unless I'm working because it's a working space. So yeah. So my parents weren't frugal people. They're just circumstances just put them on a in a position that they had to watch every penny. So my mom, for those that know Kraft Dinner, my mom would split a box of Kraft Dinner between 4 people. You think about that. And my mom would take the less out of everybody to make sure that us kids were fed. I have a vivid memory of my mom. I think I'm in kindergarten. There's memories that you can't shake. So anyway, so I am still hungry, and I tell my mom I'm still hungry. I need more to eat, and she pushed her plate of Kraft Dinner towards me. Said, "Fine, eat. I'll go without." And she ended up leaving the table. Went into the kitchen, and cried. And it's moments like that you have to remember that you got to be somewhat grateful for what you have and not what you're missing. Anyway, I've never been able to shake that. It's one of those moments, just seeing a parent so vulnerable like that. So somebody's referring to no Kevin today. I don't know who Kevin is, so probably not. I think my yarn delivery's here. Just stand by, please. It came with a big truck because I ordered a lot of yarn. I think we're going to do an unboxing of my yarn I ordered from Yarn Inspirations. It's come on a big truck. Anybody want to see an unboxing? Daniel's dealing with the driver. This driver is really good about the dogs. He just thinks the dogs are the best. Is that my yarn? Yes. I'm live on camera. Fine. I got a box of yarn. Ooh, sounds like ripping underwear off. Don't get excited, Gordon. So yeah, you know, I just got a little box of yarn. So this is the Boxing Day sale for Yarn Inspirations that I ordered. So I've got to redo one of my nutcrackers. Wow, they really jammed this in. That's my receipt. Okay, there's no back orders. So I didn't even know they still made this yarn, but anyway, I gotta redo one of the nutcrackers because the mouse is chewing their costume. So the entire nutcrackers were done with Karen Simply Soft Party. So this yarn, it all sparkles. So the nutcrackers actually sparkle in person. So anyway, I ordered, I think, every color for that. So I got the, so I can redo the costume. I'm thinking about changing it, the design completely because, you know, 10 years have gone by. And I know a lot more stitches than I did 10 years ago. So I'm thinking of changing the design completely. So this is red. I don't know if you can see the sparkle or not. So you can find this stuff on Yarn. I didn't even know they still made this because Daniel says you got to redo the costume. And I'm like, they don't make this yarn. He says, yes, they do. So this is a pink sparkle. So anyway, I actually chat GPT. I actually asked what colors does Mikey use the most in the crochet crowd, and it turns out it's fuchsia. I use this color the most. I didn't even realize that. So there's black sparkle. So I'm gonna put the box down. Okay, so we got pink. We got purple sparkle. So originally when we did the nutcrackers, we were given a donation of all the sparkle party yarn, but these ones I've had to pay for because I'm redoing the costume and it's not sponsored. Anyway, it was 40% off plus free shipping. So I actually saved a lot of money. The white sparkle. So I thought black. I don't remember using green on the nutcrackers before. This is almost like Christmas tree green. Actually, I could design something Christmassy. And we did some blue. The pants on this nutcracker were white and blue stripes, so I needed to get some blue. And the funny thing about it is it has sparkle, but it doesn't hurt when you crochet. So the technology has gotten better. Remember the sparkle yarn of last time? It would like rip off your skin. I'm really a fan of this color. So this one blends right in that you don't even feel it when you're touching it. So you could actually do your scarves. So this is teal sparkle. That was my favorite color of the group. And then, so because I know that they're in bags of 3, this is called the retail pack that I always order in groups of 3 so that the dye lot stays the same within inside the bag because they make it at the same time. So this is a light gray. And I got the base of it was metallic gray, so this is a darker gray of the two. You really see the sparkle in that one. So they all sparkle. It's just some colors really make it sparkle more. So this is all yarn inspiration. So I decided that, and then I got more yarn in here. I also wanted to update. I got rid of a lot of yarn before the holidays. So I wanted to do an update. Oh my God, these are not what I thought. Well, I just got a hell of a deal. I thought these were the small balls of Lily Sugar and Cream. These are the jumbo size. I got a hell of a deal. I think these were like $2.99 a ball. Don't quote me, but I think they will. So I did, and I know they come in 6s, so I ordered by the 6s. So I decided to update my cotton yarns. Wow. Just really fun, vibrant colors to play with. And red. So I just got the primary colors that show up good on camera. This is called Super. So there was a really good special on these guys, on Yarn Inspirations. And then I don't know what I'm thinking. I only got 2 balls of bitty stripes. Why would I only buy 2 balls? Huh, well, I guess that's all I got. Let me guess, I probably had a project in mind that I've forgotten what I was going to do with it. So in Canada, the Lily Sugar and Cream is called Bernat Handicrafter. So we're going to be bringing up one of my nutcrackers from the studio just to kind of sit it in the other room and I can redo the outfit. There's been chatter about the nutcrackers going to another location for next year. But I got to redo the one costume. A mouse has chewed part of the costume up. Well, that's exciting. Actually, I felt like it was going to be box and box because of the order list was huge. So I think it's like 80 balls of yarn that I bought. And I think it was like $400 Canadian plus free shipping. So for 80 balls, what was that? It was a good deal. I know that. So it's about $5 a ball. Actually, I think it was $3.75. Let me take a look. Order Inspirations. Good. Yep, I got everything. I wonder if there's an anti-rodent spray that won't affect the yarn. So the giant nutcrackers are the big guys that you've seen videos of. So yeah, I got to redo one of the costumes. I'm not doing anything with the head or the hat. I just got to redo some of the costuming. The bases they're sitting on, because they get moved around a lot, they are looking tired in a negative way. So it took me a month to crochet both of their outfits from the neck down, and then final touches over the summer. But they seem to stun people when they get out in the public. So this year is the first year they've been in public for an actual real event. I put them in a craft store for like a few hours a couple years back, and it was a big online hit that I did that. But anyway, the issue with putting it into a store like that, they want you to stand beside it and babysit it, and so they went somewhere that they were monitoring themselves, and then they were in a store for a different store that is a smaller store for the rest of the season. They just came back 2 days ago. They came back on Saturday. Cedar chips deter bugs. So now the dog sweater has been popping into my mind as well. I just saw a review on dog sweaters. You know, if I owned a Chihuahua or something small, I'd probably be all over that. But my big guys are already got their sweaters on. I have 2 Great Pyrenees, as you know. Speaking of dogs, so Daniel wants me to probably make him a leather choker for the party we're going to. And I'll put him on a chain. And I'm not kidding. Cinnamon sticks in the pouch will deter them. So Teresa is apparently at work sneaking in YouTube time today, or Facebook time. She's so bad, so bad. I should probably give Daniel my lunch order that I want craft dinner. I have my bi-monthly meeting with Yarn Inspirations at 2 o'clock my time, so about an hour from now. So anyway, I got a whack of patterns that I have not even shared with you guys yet. So I have, I just got to weave in my tail. So I have a snood here. And my stitch markers are still in. But anyway, this is a snood that goes over your head. So you can wear it down like a cowl, or you can pull it up like that. So I got that. And I used Bernat lattice yarn, and I did you can see right here, I do a continuous spiral, so you can see it that there. And I used one ball of Bernat lattice completely. And then I used Red Heart Super Saver for the bottom part because I needed it to be longer, but I didn't want to spend any more money. And then I crocheted up with Bernat lattice. I crocheted up a lazy wave. It's a lazy wave scarf. So I leave the hooks and everything. So I got another cowl. I got an infinity cowl. I got a headband in the works. I got another scarf using bitty stripes, and then I got a moose on the go. And I got a pair of leg warmers that I have to write the pattern for yet. That was using Bernat Symphony. So I've been crocheting up a storm. So anyway, so I've just been busy working. Most of these I got to design crochet diagram to go with it. What's the headband like? So the infinity cowl matches the actual, it's a stitch sampler of the actual, so these are the leg warmers. So I did an infinity cowl using the same yarn that has the same stitch work. So the leg warmers actually go with this. And it's infinity, so it naturally folds like this. And so it's got texture. And then I did, with the remaining of the ball, because I didn't use all the ball, the remaining of the ball, I decided to make a matching headband that goes with, see the section here. And it's also in the leg warmers right there. And so I did a matching headband to go with that. So you got the best of two worlds. You got the cowl to protect the neck and the matching headband to protect the ears. And you can do leg warmers. So this is actually a combination set of all three. So I technically should write it all together as one pattern, all three pieces together. And then I got 2 more scarves and another cowl on the hook too. Well, it's not on the hook, it's done. It's just I gotta write it up. So any names for that kind of set? I'm all ears. So you're crazy for matching sets. So I already have the crochet diagrams drawn for the leg warmers. So it's just a matter of having using the same diagrams for the other stuff. Winter warmth, deep freeze, the deep freeze. So the Bernat Symphony is a wool-based product, so it will keep it warm. Head to toe. Oh, that's not bad. Head and shoulders, knees and toes. There you go. Head and shoulders, knees and toes. Then I'd need a matching pair of socks if I want toes. So head and shoulders, knees and ankles. We'll go with my moose that's called Knuckles. I don't know if Gordon is still around, but Daniel wants me to name my moose that I'm making Knuckles. I think I'm going to do it though. For those that are Canadian, do you remember that TV show? I think they actually filmed it in Winnipeg, but it was called Cucumber. Does anybody ever remember that show? Anyway, I was thinking about that when I was crocheting it. Anyway, they had a moose and they had a beaver. How are the shorts coming along? Not bad. That's what I'm crocheting right now. So I'm crocheting it for the cruise ship for my vacation. He said, Daniel was telling me, he says there's never a perfect time in the world that crochet is so fashionable that you can actually get away with wearing crochet shorts without people being that judgy about it. So he said, you should do it. And I'm like, okay, fine. You know what? I always find there's an extra gap when it comes to these rounds. If I was smart, I'd actually only crochet seven single crochets, because the gapping space that's created with the slip stitch, it looks like an extra space. So you could actually use the final space as a stitch. Never heard of Cucumber. Actually, I looked it up yesterday. The moose on the show never had a name, and it was always the moose and the beaver. TVO. It was TVO. Yeah. And actually, Cucumber was a lot older than I thought. I didn't see it. I saw it after it was done. It was older than I thought. It's probably like Mr. Rogers. It was around well before my time. So we have BC in the house, British Columbia. Oh wait, the States had a cartoon called Bullwinkle. I remember Bullwinkle. What was the other? It was something Bullwinkle. There was two names to that, wasn't there? Actually, you think about our generation, we watch cartoons where there's an anvil always being dropped on the head of a coyote. And we survived that. Rocky and Bullwinkle, that's right. Was he a flying squirrel? I don't recall. Well, he actually wore goggles, I think. So yeah, that makes sense. So what cartoons was I never
I really did not like the Pink Panther cartoons. And the cartoon I hated the most out of it might be Warner Brothers or Looney Tunes, was Leghorn Foghorn, that big ass rooster. Oh my God. Listen to me when I'm talking to you, boy. Oh my God. That rooster needed a punch in the face. Even as a kid, I'm like, you just need to shut up for once in your life. He's always so hard on that dog. Foghorn Leghorn. Oh my God. I hated that cartoon so much. I hated that rooster. Just never shut up. So Garfield. I know who Garfield is. I don't think I was an avid watcher of Garfield. Definitely the Smurfs. I say, boy. Yeah. Definitely a fan of the Smurfs. There was an hour and a half of Smurfs and cartoons on Saturday mornings. And then Pee Wee Herman. I was a bit too old for Pee Wee Herman, but my brother loved Pee Wee Herman. So that was on Saturday mornings as well. Actually, I watched the documentary on him, Pee Wee Herman, recently. It's actually kind of felt sad for Paul Reubens. I think Paul Reubens, from what I took from the documentary, is that he lived in the closet without being authentic, even pretending to have a straight relationship in the whole 9 yards, just to be able to stay in sync with the norm of Hollywood. And it just seems sad. I understand the era that it was in, but his documentary was horrible. It was just really sad. Another documentary I have no intention of watching is Chevy Chase. That one, I saw a few clips online of him talking to the reporter the way he was, and I'm like, you know what? We don't have to watch you. I think he was fun on a few things, but I don't like the persona. And so The Friendly Giant, I was a fan of The Friendly Giant too. Another Canadian show, I think that was. What other fantastic tools do you recommend to make your life easier? The Yarn Genie for sure. I got 4 of them over there on my desk. Actually, I want to make a little stand for my Yarn Genie because I keep knocking it off the table upstairs. And I want to put it on, like, you know, those toilet roll dispensers that you can, if you don't have it on the wall, it has on the stand. I need something like that, but to hold the Yarn Genie. So it's not too tall, but that's a tool I've been thinking about making for myself. You're cheap. Your Yarn Genie is a paper towel holder. That doesn't make you cheap. It makes you innovative. So anyway, so what I'm thinking of doing is sacrificing at least 2 of the genies out of the 4 that I have to take it apart and to mount it to, like, almost like a post or a pole that will just sit beside me. It'll sit on the floor, but beside me on the chair. I always sit it at the end of my feet when I have my feet up on the Lazy Boy. And it always falls off my Lazy Boy at some point. It drives me nuts. So if I just make a little stand that's not connected to my chair, I think it'd be a lot happier. Okay, so the middle section is now done for all of those, and now we're gonna move along. Maybe a super weight base. I did think about that too. Actually, I thought about pouring liquid plaster into the base of the genie, just to give it more weight. So I think you're on the right track there, Wendy. I went to Home Depot to see if they had any ideas. Apparently, I wanted to make my own yarn genie from scratch, and it turns out that the magnets that they sell in Home Depot are basically manufactured magnets, and anyway, the woman told me that I need rare earth magnets for the actual, because I brought my yarn genie and I said, look how much this actually magnifies or magnetizes, and she goes, that's a rare earth magnet, and I didn't even know there was a thing. So anyway, so she says you're probably going to have to go on Amazon to find those, like the magnets for that, because that's something that they don't offer. So I checked in a few places around here, but nobody offers that level of a magnet. My goal is to make a longer shaft so that I can put an actual Super Saver ball on it, because they're not big enough to hold a Super Saver ball. I made a tool once for myself. It's actually really early on in the videos. Anyway, it was a loom Princess Auto. Yes, we have a Princess Auto. Oh, I know what you're thinking. That I never thought of. Thank you for the suggestion. I know what to do. I don't think we have Princess Auto. We have Napa. It's like Princess Auto though. It's almost like the kind of magnets that you have at the end of a tool. If you drop something behind something and it's on an extension, like an extension pole that you can just, like an antenna pole, those magnets tend to be really quite strong. So those are the kind of magnets I need. So the Yarn Genie will only hold up to 250 grams of a ball. So the Red Heart Super Saver is too heavy. So I was hoping to get a bigger magnet and to make a different pole for those. Princess Auto is in Dartmouth. What's the one here? They wear the hats on their cars here, Megan. I think is it Napa? I don't recall. Telescoping, that's the right word. But anyway, so I approached these three guys at the Home Depot and I said, here's my idea. And they glossed over as soon as I said the word yarn. And so anyway, this woman with the uniform came up and said, what are you guys talking about? And I said, they're not saying a damn word. They looked at me with deer eyes, didn't say a word to me. And she goes, hey, I can help you with that. So anyway, so it's like, so I walked away and I said, I don't know what happened with those three. I said yarn, and they just glossed over. She goes, yeah, I'm not surprised. Because I had my Yarn Genie. I said, this is what it does, and this is what I'm looking to create. So I'm making the petals now. So anyway, so I don't care what colors are in the squares, as long as the color is not already in there. So the petals just float until the final round, and then they get pinned back with a single crochet. So I have this obsession of staring at my yarn balls as I'm crocheting. The fact that they're sitting behind me now kind of bothers me. I have this fascination with watching the yarn come out of a yarn ball. And actually, I kind of challenge myself to keep crocheting so that the yarn never stops moving. And it gives me this adrenaline rush, like a dopamine hit, like I cannot describe. So that's why I put it on my footrest of my lazy boy chair, because the TV is right in front of me. So so it's in my view, so I can just look down and watch the ball unravel as I'm watching TV. So we got soup time. Soup. Yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to take a break now because I have a meeting in 45 minutes with Yarn Inspirations. Okay, so I'm going to say goodbye for now. I'm going to keep working on my stuff. Okay, that's it for now. We hope you have a great afternoon or evening or morning, wherever you are in the world. And thank you so much for joining me on my Babel Fest today. And we wish you a happy hooking week ahead. And we'll see you online, whether it's YouTube or Facebook. See you again. See you.